Hello friends, I'm Jeff. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to peer support, if you're thinking about going into the work of peer support, or maybe you're starting to find yourself interested in supporting or you're in a support capacity, you may have asked yourself a few questions. Things like, am I ready to help someone else? What if I do something wrong? Do I need to have everything figured out for myself first before I can support someone else? I get it because I've been there too. Recently, I hit my 4-year anniversary of doing this work, and it got me thinking, if I were to go back in time and tell myself things that I know now that I wish I knew then, what would they be? Now, as someone who has not only worked in peer support, but trains peer support workers, I thought I would share what I have learned in 4 years of being a peer support worker and hope that it gives you some insights. So if you're thinking of going into this work or you're supporting anyone in any capacity, and hopefully it helps. So here are 4 lessons that I've learned in 4 years of peer support. Lesson 1, you still have to take care of yourself. Now, when I started my first week as a peer support worker, I thought that I had kind of found the hack or cheat code for the perfect work-life balance. I would be spending my days talking about wellness, talking to other people about wellness, facilitating and teaching tools on mental health and things like that. And I assumed that what would happen is that I would absorb my own version of self-care, and I would start learning these lessons and taking these things on and carrying them through just naturally. But what I actually learned was, even though I talked about mental health and mental wellness all day, it's still possible to completely forget your own. That realization hit me one week when I remember I was encouraging someone to take rest. And as the words were coming out of my mouth, I had a personal realization that I wasn't resting myself. I was running on 4 hours of sleep. I was skipping breakfast, all those kind of little things like that. The lesson was humbling and honestly a bit embarrassing, but it reminded me that being in this role doesn't make you immune to burnout. I had to start showing up for myself the way that I was showing up for everyone else. And for me personally, that was going back to basics, getting back to a natural sleep routine, taking care of myself in the morning, doing my little morning routine, eating better or healthier. I'm using air quotes. And honestly, it wasn't easy, but the thing is, self-care isn't something that you earn by getting a job in peer support. It's something that you practice, and it's something that you practice every day or daily or whenever you need it. So if you're in a position where you're supporting others, just check in with yourself. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be present for you and for the person that you're supporting. Lesson number 2, it's not always easy to show up at 100%, but when I do, I show up at 110%. Let me explain. Some days in peer support, I feel fully present. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And some days I just don't. Maybe I didn't sleep well. Maybe life outside of work is heavy. Maybe I'm just tapped out. And in those moments, I've caught myself thinking, how am I supposed to show up for someone when I feel like I can't really show up for myself? And here's what I've learned. Even when I don't feel like showing up at 100%, just showing up is still really important. It's still one of the most important things that matter. Some of the most meaningful moments I've had in peer support have happened on the days where I just didn't feel like being there, or I felt the least prepared, or I felt the least on. But just showing up and staying open and being honest allowed the person that I was supporting, or the people I was supporting, to show up and feel safe and do the same. And the interesting part is, when I left those conversations, I felt better than when I had walked in, almost like I gave what I could and peer support gave back to me, or the connection had given back to me. So if you're facing a tough day, or you feel like you don't have enough to give, or maybe that you're not enough, just remember this. You don't need to be perfect. Sometimes just showing up is all that needed. Creating that safe space for someone else could be all the support that the person needs in the world. Lesson 3, it's really just connection. The longer I do this work, the harder it is to define what peer support actually is. And the truth is that peer support shifts. Peer support shifts as I shift, peer support shifts as who's involved, where people are at in their lived experience, and what's needed in the moment. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about solving problems. It's about creating a space where someone can feel seen and someone can feel heard and understood. And the number one tool that I use to create that space of connection is communication. I hope to one day make a video or a video series on how communication looks in a peer support setting and environment. But for now, just to summarize, what communication looks like to me is listening to understand, asking questions, and not trying to fix, just being present with the person. Sometimes I say a lot, sometimes I say a little, sometimes just sitting in silence and maybe, I don't know, doing a coloring activity or a craft or something is all that's needed. But I'm always trying to aim for connection over the content, because when connection is your goal, you don't need the perfect words. Just showing up, creating that safe space, as I've said many, many times before in my videos, might be all that's needed. Lesson 4, mental health and wellness can be fun. Hear me out. Mental health can be fun, and if you cringed at me saying that or you're thinking that I'm a total jerk, it's fine. I totally get it. For a long time, I would have had the same reaction. Normally, when we talk about mental health and mental wellness, we usually focus on the heavy stuff: recovery, trauma, survival, crisis, those types of things. And that stuff is real. That stuff matters. That's important. It's usually what brings people to peer support or in some level of finding support or help on their journey. But the longer that I do this work, the more I realize mental health isn't just about getting through the hard moments. It can also be about building a life that you actually want to be here for. That can mean joy, laughter, play, creativity, sending ridiculous memes to friends, family, or coworkers. And in peer support, those moments are often the moments that are the most healing. So yes, mental health can be heavy, but it can also be weird, silly, beautiful, and sometimes all of those things all at once. So there you have it. There are 4 things that I learned in 4 years of being a peer support worker. But I'd love to hear from you. Was there anything that I left on the list that you think should be added? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about peer support or connection, support in general, or mental wellness, check out some of my other videos and remember to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'm Jeff, and take care of yourself, however that looks to you.